Hi, Kim from thatsweetraw.com, and today I'm talking about why you might not want to sing with forward placement. What is your other option, and why might you want to choose it? I was in deep creation mode today for my workshop that is coming up this weekend called Color Palette. And one of the things that I'm teaching on in those classes is placement. And I thought this is a video that I've wanted to make for ages because there is so much content out there encouraging singers to sing with forward placement, which, don't get me wrong, is great. But I wanted to do a demonstration to show you why it might not always be the right choice and to remind you that you have options. So, forward placement, or singing in the mask, sometimes people refer to it as that, comes about because of a few different things. It can be projection, so that is linked to your breath support and its relationship with your vocal cords. Your tongue can play a role, your lips and jaw, and also emotions that add cry or wail into the mix. So all of these can be factors in a sound that then resonates more forward in your mouth and in the front of your face. And if you're pushing your voice forward without any of these things, it could be that you're forcing it there rather than creating a shape or a sound where it would naturally fall there. It would naturally resonate in that space. So just be aware of that. If you know that forward placement is something that we should be able to do, something you should be utilizing, but you're not using any of those factors, we don't want to just push it there because it's meant to go there. There's actually ways that we can create that. But when the voice resonates more forward in this way, it brings a certain color with it. So I describe it as brightness. You might hear it as nasality or like a metallic sort of sound. And one of the singers in a workshop that I ran called Hearing Aid described it as lemon curd, which I loved because it has a sharpness to it, a bit of bite to it. And that color is fantastic for some songs and some styles, and actually helps us a lot when we're getting higher and we want to keep power in the sound. But sometimes you're going to work on a song where that brightness actually sounds too severe. So it might sound kind of abrasive or annoying or out of place, or simply just not what you enjoy the sound of, right? So for example, the song Rise Up by Andra Day is one of my favorites, and I prefer to sing it with a warmer, darker tone. So that is what feels right for me. And I'm going to demonstrate it first with a forward placement and then what I call a more muted placement, which is kind of just the opposite of forward. So it sits a little bit more inside my mouth. And that's just so that you can hear the difference. This is all about choice, okay? Not that one is necessarily better than the other, although everyone is going to have their personal preference. Okay, so let's start off in more forward placement, so it's resonating more at the front of my face. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. Okay, what if I let it sit back a little bit, what I call muted placement? You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. There you go. Let me know in the comments what you hear as the difference. Put it in your own words, because you don't need to get all of the singing jargon language right. It's important that you cultivate your own language about your voice and about the voices of others and colors that you hear in voices, okay? And that's actually not as far forward as I could have moved it. So I actually only did that with the position of my tongue. I wasn't changing anything about my lips. I wasn't changing anything about the way I projected it or the emotion that I was bringing into it. It was kind of stock standard thinking about the technique and delivering that. So yeah, that was only one element that I changed, but hopefully you can still hear that it added an element of brightness when it was forward, and then what I like to call darkness, or that warmth that comes with moving it back into a slightly more muted or more inside the mouth position. So hopefully you can hear a difference. I definitely use forward placement, particularly in genres like musical theater and rock, but it's not always appropriate and it's not always my preference. So please don't get caught up in this idea that forward placement is always right, or forward placement is king and what you should always be aiming for, because you actually have way more options than that. So I believe that singing technique should open you up to a multitude of ways to express yourself and not cage you into something that doesn't feel or sound right to you. So please, if you ever feel like the way that you're learning technique is more limiting than liberating, please keep searching for teachers or approaches that flip that for you. You deserve that. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can change the color and tone and character of your voice with the techniques and tools and approaches that I use, please make sure that you've nabbed your ticket to Color Palette. I will pop the link down below. It is happening this weekend, and as part of that, you have the opportunity, not compulsory, but the opportunity to workshop a song with me in real time, coaching you to help you get a tone that you're in love with, the tone that you really want to bring into it. So I hope that this video gave you some insight into how your placement can change your tone, and how where it resonates can make it sound great for the style or not quite right. And most of all, that you have options. You are not just destined to sing everything through the front of your face all of the time. So leave a comment below with your thoughts and reflections. You know I love hearing from you. And if you have any questions, you can pop them there too. Have an incredible week. Thank you for watching, and take beautiful care of yourself.